Welcome to Chimo Air Service. Established in 1995, we are located on Howie Bay in central Red Lake. We began with 2 aircraft, the Cessna 180 and Norseman KAO. Over the years, we have expanded our fleet to include Norseman KAO, Twin Beach HZA, and over here, our Otter ODQ, the Cessna 180 SMS in the background, and of course our other Norseman JIN. In 2012, the Beach was sold. To maintain the integrity of the fleet and to uphold our standards of service, we purchased a standard Otter.
It's a wee bit.
He kept his hands to himself.
He pull out his pecker. He loves doing that. Did he do that?
No,
Oh, okay. Yeah, he gets the biggest kick out of that. You know, it just fun.
There's the man.
Hello, Peter.
I heard you snore, buddy.
No, you didn't.
Did?
I didn't snore. Pete.
Hello.
We try to keep all our aircraft in top-notch condition, both inside and out. All our airplanes have regularly scheduled inspections performed by qualified local mechanics. We not only fly passengers, we also transport freight, such as gas drums, lumber, and other various supplies. Each piece of lumber is placed with care so as not to damage the aircraft.
You know how to use the safety equipment you're going to
Before each flight, every passenger will be given a thorough briefing by the company dispatcher on boating safety, as well as the proper instructions for the use of the emergency life jackets provided on each of the aircraft.
Then you have to do up the belt. You like to put that around your waist and snap it in. Perfect, and then you tighten it. Then you pull on the red tab.
We're going to go to Marvin first. Drop everything.
With the gear already loaded, this group is heading out on the newly converted turbine Otter. After making sure all passengers are buckled up and ready to go, our pilot climbs in and fires up the turbine engine. Half the crew will stay and finish unloading and reloading the Otter, while the rest of the crew proceeds to catch the Twin Beach. No sooner is the beach tied down than the Norseman arrives with another load of passengers and gear. Not every day can go as planned. Sometimes Mother Nature steps in and slows us down. Every one of our planes was fully loaded and ready to go at our regularly scheduled time. Everyone waited and waited, and finally the fog lifted. Bad weather cannot be changed by anyone. We just have to wait it out. Our Norseman JIN was the plane in the movie Snowwalker. Now, just for those Norseman enthusiasts, we have a short video clip of Dave Robertson and Bruce Gowans giving a brief history lesson on the Norseman aircraft.
Well, the airplane was designed in 1935, and it was probably the first airplane designed exactly as a bush plane. The designer, Robert Nordine, he had worked for some other companies, and he looked at the good points and the bad points of some of the other early airplanes that were being used. And he talked to a lot of the bush pilots. And of course, you're hearing that beautiful sound of a Norseman fly overhead right now, which is music to our ears. But the designer basically came up with what he thought would be the best plane for the job, and over 70 years, in some ways, it's turned out to be one of the best planes for the job. It's a steel tube and fabric airplane. The design, the style of design dates back to the 30s. Some of the newer airplanes are what they call monocoque construction, which is it's a lightweight aluminum shell with formers, which allows you to build basically a strong airplane lighter. But the Norseman, in some ways, it's built like a tank. It's a very solid airplane. It's a very dependable airplane. It's a very rugged airplane, which is just perfect for this type of work. The majority of our business is fly and fishing. The average load for a Norseman would be, say, 4 to 6 people and gear. We'll fly them out to a fishing camp usually anywhere out to 100 miles north or northwest of Red Lake. And the airplane it's just exactly the right size for one pilot to operate. It just fits 4 to 6 people perfectly. It's got enough room. It has enough gas. It just fits the niche perfectly.
The first airplane, the Mark I, had a 400 horsepower Wright engine in it, and it was underpowered. The production model was a Mark II, and the Mark III was the first one to have the Pratt & Whitney 600 horsepower in, or 550, depending on who you talk to. And the production model was really the Mark IV, and that was an extremely good airplane. There are still 2 operating out of Red Lake now, Mark IV Norseman. And then they went on to produce the Mark VI. The Mark VI was produced during the Second World War. You might have thought that the Mark V would have come after the Mark IV, but not really. Nordine was a very patriotic individual, and he kept the Mark V for V for Victory. And it came into production after the Second World War, and if you look on them, they actually have Mark V, but it's really written as a V for Victory. And so that's the history of the Mark V. The Mark V was really a sort of civilian version of the Mark VI, which was really a military aircraft. And in the United States, it was called a UC-64, utility aircraft. When I was 7 or 8 years old, my father actually operated one, and my father was a fur trader then, and we had an airplane, and it was primarily bought to fly fish. But it would fly south every day with a load of fish, and then fly back, bringing either freight or goods or actually fuel. Often they just brought fuel back to fly the fish south. And the pilot, in the morning, he had to go around to the various fish camps and pick up 100 pounds of fish here, 200 there, and I often went around with him. And that airplane, actually, CFFUU, is still flying out of Red Lake.